Howdy y'all, Merry Christmas. Now in today's video, we're going to head on over to Dollywood during my favorite time of the year. Now Dollywood is my personal happy place. This is where I go to escape all of the troubles that I have in my life and to just take some time to unwind. And at no other time during the year does this place feel more magical, more dazzling, more lit up, more alive than during Smoky Mountain Christmas. Everything from the lights to the music to the crafts, the shows, the production quality on the shows, everything about Smoky Mountain Christmas at Dollywood is just better. And this isn't just me saying this. Dollywood consistently wins industry awards every year for the Smoky Mountain Christmas Festival. So, let's take a walk around the park and see what makes the place Dolly built here in the Great Smoky Mountains so special, especially during this time of year. Something unique about these nativity scenes is they are actually made by folks in the West Bank, which for a lot of the people who make these, this is their main form of income, is being able to sell these olive wood nativities to people who come to Bethlehem on pilgrimages. And of course, because of the current war, they're not able to sell these to people making their pilgrimages to Bethlehem and Jerusalem. So it is neat that, places like Dollywood and other places here in the States are able to provide a means of selling these so those folks still get the income that they need.
This is Cinderella?
No, this is Klondike Katie. Now, one thing Dollywood is very well known for is their food. And if you do go to Dollywood, especially as a large group, the best place to grab a bite is Aunt Granny's. It's all you can eat, served family style, right there at your table. And of course, with it being owned by the queen of country music herself, Dolly Parton, the live entertainment is not to be missed. Now, if you do not see any other show in the park during Smoky Mountain Christmas, the one show that you must see is Christmas in the Smokies. This show has been running for years, and it is, without a doubt, not just the best show Dollywood puts on during the Christmas season, but it is the best show at Dollywood, period, during any time of year. So, if you go during Christmas time, you absolutely must see Christmas in the Smokies. Well, show's over, and Klondike Katie has already arrived at the station. So let's take a ride with her and the conductors and the guys and gals of the Dollywood Express up Iron Mountain. Now, it is no secret to anybody who knows me that I am a huge fan of vintage steam locomotives. I've loved them ever since I was a little kid, and Klondike Katie, aka engine number 192, is one of my favorite steam locomotives of all time. And there is a very specific reason for this. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, it was not entirely uncommon for guests to be allowed to ride in the cab of the steam train at Dollywood. Back then, you could just ask the engine crew and they'd hoist you right on up in the cab and perch you on a little bench that sat on top of the coal boards right there on the tender. Well, in 2004, during one of my childhood visits to Dollywood with my grandma and my Aunt Jennifer, we decided we wanted to ride up front in the cab. Now, whenever I was little, I was bashful. Thankfully, I grew out of that. But I was too bashful to even ask the engineer if I could ride in the cab of the steam train, which is something I'd wanted to do for a very long time. So, thankfully, my Aunt Jennifer had the nerve where I didn't. And she asked if we could ride, and of course the engineer said yes. And he opened up the gate, and we climbed up in the cab of engine number 192, aka Klondike Katie. Sat us right there on the tender seat, and that was the very first time that I had ever been in the cab of a steam train. And thankfully, it wasn't the last. One thing in particular that I do remember during that cab ride, other than being absolutely mesmerized by everything happening in front of me, the noises, the sounds, the smells, everything. The fireman handed me a shovel and asked if I wanted to start shoveling. But, of course, back then, I was too bashful to even see if he was being serious. When we got back to the station, of course, we had to take a picture to commemorate the momentous occasion. I still have that picture, even though it's 20 years old, and faded, and stained. Dollywood's all about making memories worth repeating, and they certainly did with me on that particular day 20 years ago.
I said, would you like to hear some music on the whistle? Yeah! All right, on the count of three, let's tell that engineer to blow that whistle. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3, blow the whistle! Part of the entire journey coming up on the left side is polar bear country. Now folks, these wild animals have been trained a little bit by our trainers here at Dollywood, but be very, very careful if you go through this area.
I've tried that one because it don't go upside down or do any big hills. I've tried it in the spring if we go. And then the worst part of it.
Well, that was another fun visit to Dollywood. But I think it's time to start heading back up the mountain towards Boone and kick off the Christmas season with family and friends. Oh, I almost forgot. I had a little bit of a side mission. You see, my roommate happens to really love the brisket from Buc-ee's. And to be fair, I don't know of anybody who doesn't love Buc-ee's brisket. Problem is whenever I go inside Buc-ee's, I get real easily distracted. Brisket for roommate has been acquired. Alright, we just got out of Buc-ee's and I managed to not get distracted by anything. Got me a tea, got some brisket for the roommate, and we're ready to head back to North Carolina. Now, it was already well after dark by the time I got back home, but whenever I woke up the following morning, I had a real purty Christmas surprise waiting on me. The bright shine of freshly fallen snow just outside my window. Now, I'm going to be changing the format of some of these videos in the coming year, so this will probably be my last vlog until the new year begins. So, until the next time I see y'all, I hope each and every single one of y'all has a very Merry Christmas, or whatever you celebrate this time of year. It's a great time of year to do it.